Again, no mold mentioned at all. There was an environmentalist that was looking for that, and they have a lot of experience when going to a lot of different buildings looking exactly for that same thing. Now, Pinellas County School Board representative, Mr. Wolf, along with an environmental specialist, also came in on a Monday before last week's Monday, I believe it was, at 7 o'clock in the morning. And they also evaluated their premises and wrote a report. And the report specifically said from Mr. Wolf that they conducted a visit on August 22nd. And in addition, they state that the health department also conducted a visit on 8/18. Below the summary report from the school district's general manager, environmental control, Tim Kohi, Mr. Kohi's recommendations are: 1, immediately control the space humidity with dehumidifiers. 2, have someone qualified to inspect the BART units, the AC units, to ensure they are working properly. That was the recommendation. Mr. Goki specifically in his report said, this is the environmental specialist for Pinellas County School Board, he said that this email is to follow up a letter report describing the observations found during the site visit on the morning of August 22nd, 2016. It was reported mold growth was occurring in 5 classroom modular building located in the south end of the property. Again, he did not say that. It was reported to him. They were here to investigate. He continues and he says, it had previously been cleaned a day or 2 before, so no mold was observed during our visit. Although, however, photographs were taken. Now, it's a little misleading there because the photographs taken, again, they were not during school hours. They were from July. But specifically, he says, no mold was observed during our visit. On July 25th, Mr. Rick Wolf, along with Ed Gotti, made a follow-up report to see if their recommended procedures were put in place, which number 1 was to install dehumidifiers, and number 2 was to have the air condition inspected to make sure that it operates within as designed, as they put it. Now, on that report, on that visit, I was here as well, and we did tour together the property, and both gentlemen say that they did verify the units were here. The AC company was emailed to them as well, and I believe I did copy you with that. And we did point out that on same day, they made that recommendation, on same day, we had people go out and buy these dehumidifiers on same day and install them. On same day, we had the AC inspected to make sure. It is regretful, however, that somehow the news media came in. Photographs was presented to the news media. However, the photographs presented, they were not represented as to the time period they were taken. They were misleading in a way that a lot of you, I'm sure, felt that it is now, that mold is those classrooms now, which again was not the case. I believe that for some reason, also in the media, I received a letter from Mr. Wolf. And this letter, Mr. Wolf did say mold was found. However, the first 2 reports, we didn't see that, and we kind of questioned that. Because in the first report, Mr. Wolf, along with Kochi, specifically stated no mold was found. Now, the media, in having the photographs from July, in having this statement from the school district, and in listening to a lot of parents that were concerned naturally, the story started to blow out of proportions. The other media picked it up, Channel 13, St. Times, but I'd like to point out that on July 25th, both Mr. Wolf And Mr. Botti, the environmental specialist from Pinellas County, clearly indicated that we followed their recommendations and they did not see any evidence of mold when they toured the property. August 25th, I'm sorry. Now, we continue with our investigation, and today, just to make sure that there is no stones unturned, because as I stated to a lot of you, or many of you that I discussed, money is not an object over here. And I had committed my personal funds to make sure that if the board doesn't meet again to approve anything, that I will be paying for additional reports if necessary. And I'm still committed to that. As I told the chairman that I will, and I volunteer to pay for these reports. He's to pick the company, and I will pay for it. Now, as I was saying, we had also this past weekend, we had a reputable contractor, Roberts Company Inc., who came in to investigate the underbelly of the building to make sure there's no intrusion of water coming from under. Now, I'd like to read this to you because you do not have this information yet, and again, I am planning to forward it to you. As you requested, this morning we sent a crew out to examine the underside of the portable classrooms. We discovered a few tears in the vapor barrier that the manufacturer installed. Where we could see the floor substrate was dry from the underside. Again, the floor substrate was dry from the underside. The fans were working properly. The soil was wet near the east side where a condensate line drains, and the rest of ground underneath was relatively dry. They continue to say, we repaired the vapor barrier where we saw tears and sealed it with weatherproof tape. We will recommend that the condensate line be extended to a nearby ground drain to minimize wetting the soil underneath the trailers. If we can be in your further assistance, please advise. Again, I will forward this report to all of you. Hopefully, if not later tonight, it's a long day, by tomorrow sometime. I'd like to point out at this time that all the specialists that came in, including the health department, including the Pinellas County School District environmental specialists coming in twice, including the independent lab report that we obtained from a very reputable lab, a nationwide company. All of them, none of them actually said there was mold, with perhaps one exception contradicting the first report from Mr. Wolf. Now, it is with great sadness and regret that it has been made to a lot of you and created an uncomfortable situation, because the welfare of the children, I'm sure, is something that that's paramount to everybody. The most precious possession to everybody worldwide is the welfare of the children. I personally were a parent. I'm still a parent, but when the school first started, 3 of my children, 3 daughters, from the age of 4, they started the school, 1 in pre-K and 2 in kindergarten, actually, back in 2004, 2005. I'm happy to report that the oldest one graduated. She graduated high school, went to Pinellas County School. Now she's attending UF on the 2nd year because she did the dual enrollment for the last year. The second one is in Countryside High School, and the third one just graduated from Plato Academy 8th grade middle school. The building that we had at the time that I took over the school was a much, much worse condition and repair than this one. We had a portable over there, and we knew from back then that the issues, we need to address portable issues to make sure there's no water intrusion. That happens in Florida with the high humidity and the high heat. A lot of humidity does build up, but the only thing that we can do about that, about the humidity, is make sure inside we keep the water out, and inside we dry the air as much as possible. Now, a lot of you say that perhaps it's a cover up and they're not providing all the information, and that came in on the weekend to clean it and dry it and paint over it. In my letter to you, I state that that is not so. It's our duty to clean it. It would be negligent for us If we see dirt, if we see any kind of contaminant anywhere, on the grills, on the ceiling, on the floor, to clean it and investigate the source. Why did it get there? If it's a roof leak, if we see water up there, it must be a roof leak. Then we got to fix the roof. Now, let's see, I'm sure I'm leaving a lot out, but I would like to point out that since then we had a couple of other reports recently, actually. A couple of parents came up to me and said in the meeting here, you know that those units outside in the portable are 18 years old. And I am an air conditioning expert and I know. I say, well, that's kind of hard to believe because those are brand new units. We purchased them from the manufacturer, from the factory, only 3 years ago. So they can't be 18 years old. And then we had other reports that, oh, it must be mold up there. They're small. Parents send me photographs. They're small. Any discoloration now, because of all these issues that come about, any discoloration on the ceiling, or the floor, or the wall, everybody now thinks it's small. But that's not the case. That's not the case. And that's the reason in order for us to make sure 1,000%, we originally did the reports. They all came negative, but we are restless. And we're going to make sure that because we understand the importance of this issue, and we are continuing investigative work, making sure that we take all the preventive measures of the modular unit. And if need be, if the board requests, and I'm willing to pay personally for it because I have so much here that is my life. Then I will pay for it. I don't know if you people know how I became involved with Plato Academy. Very briefly, back in 2004, a charter school, they told me it was about to open, and the charter school was going to have high academics and Greek as a second language. I was born in Greece, so I said, wow, that's exactly what I want for my children. So I signed my children to that school, but within 3 months, the school started to fail. I, as a concerned parent that wanted the kind of a school here, made a motion, I asked the board and made a motion, the board made a motion that I would take over the school as a volunteer principal. And I also stated that I would back it up. I would back up the school financially to make sure that all the teachers get paid because they had no money to pay the teachers, and the rent would be paid because they didn't even pay 1 month of rent. The school here started with 80 students, and within 3 months it went down to 32 and was financially ruined and academically ruined. I'm a passionate person. I love these schools. They're like my kids. So somebody comes in and tells me that in any way I'm trying to conceal information or hide information and endanger the students of our schools, I cannot accept that. It's very painful and hurtful. And that's the reason I keep asking the parents, please look at all the evidence that we have. Please understand that we're taking every proactive measure that we can possibly take. And if there's anything else, I'm open ears. The other day, in meeting with parents, I had represented that we'll try to have a meeting this past Friday at 5:30. A mail was sent out to all the parents saying that, no, the board decided to have a full board meeting, giving notice 24 hours, and we're going to have it Monday. Now, the principal also sent out an email telling the parents that the meeting was not going to be the day, but it was going to be today. When I was in my office, I got phone calls that a lot of parents were coordinating, coming over here, and they expected answers. I didn't hide. I ran down here. If you saw when I came down here, I'm here to face. I feel accountable for everything that takes place here to make sure. I answer to the board, but me personally, I have a passion for this school. I love this school, and I cannot allow anything like this to continue or to take place or put our children in a dangerous environment, because they're our children. We consider Plato Academy a family. It's a family of schools. When we have meetings with the principals and the teachers, it's not a school system, no, it's a family of schools. Part of our mission statement actually talks about that briefly, that we are going to assist students to achieve the high potential in a safe environment, but with a collaborative effort between the parents, the school, and the community. That says that we need to work together. We need to work together as a family. This thing has escalated outside of the family, and now is defamed in our school, outside in the community, unjustifiably. If there's a problem, I'm asking the parents, if there is a problem, we need to solve it together. You need to contact the principal, contact the board, and I'm sure that answers will come about soon. Somebody told me that, well, perhaps the teachers don't report because they're afraid they might lose their job. I think that we need to do something about that. I think that we need to hire, and we recommend it to the board, to establish a committee that's made up in discussion with the PTO president, the SACS president, and the school principal. That committee, made up of parents and teachers and administrators, needs to make sure, because they're on the ground, to make sure that those issues pushed up immediately. And actually, I'm going to be asking that they copy me directly, not anybody below me, and also copy the board directly, because they are the ultimate decision makers here. We are taking that step. We're taking the step of putting it together, and I was hoping that we have it together today. The board needs to ratify and recommend if that's what they want us to do. Now, also, I'd like to say that I feel accountable. I feel accountable about this whole thing. I feel accountable, and I believe that communications perhaps did not work, the communication process. So we're looking to make sure the communications are improved in the school. So we always have the ear open and waiting, and don't wait for all the different steps before we hear you. That you have a right directly you have a right to contact the board. Also, if you see especially a hazardous issue, we expect you that you contact the board directly, copy me if you could as well, tell the principal at the same time, all together, working as a school community, as a family, to solve the problem. I assure you, personally, that we have no issue of mold. There was no concealed whatsoever. We took all proactive steps to make sure that it's a safe environment. We will continue to monitor Superior Schools, and I'm sure the board as well will be monitoring on a daily basis. We'll rely on the committee as well to report directly to us any issue that comes about, and especially any issue of hazard. I personally am committing funds